Hello everyone! Welcome to Untold History, the channel where we explore the most momentous and lesser-known events in world history. Today we dive into the story of Bangladesh's independence, a violent and devastating conflict that marked the creation of one of the most densely populated countries in the world. This war, also known as the Bangladesh Liberation War, was a conflict that not only pitted East Pakistan against West Pakistan, but also involved regional powers such as India and had a major impact on the geopolitics of South Asia. To understand how Bangladesh came to be and the importance of its independence, we must first go back in time and look at how the region was influenced by colonial history and ethno-religious divisions. In 1947, when the British Empire withdrew from the Indian subcontinent, the territory was divided into two countries, India with a Hindu majority and Pakistan with a Muslim majority. However, Pakistan was not a homogeneous country. It was composed of two parts separated by more than 1,600 kilometers of Indian territory: West Pakistan, what we know today as Pakistan, and East Pakistan, the region that would become Bangladesh. Although both territories shared a majority Islamic faith, linguistic, ethnic, and cultural differences were marked. East Pakistan was populated mostly by Bengalis, a Bengali-speaking ethnic group, while West Pakistan was dominated by Urdu and Punjabi-speaking groups. From the beginning, Bengalis felt marginalized by the central government, which was controlled by West Pakistani elites. Tensions between the two regions increased in the 1950s. The first major crisis occurred when the central government tried to impose Urdu as the sole official language of all Pakistan, which was seen as a direct threat to Bengali cultural identity. Throughout the 1960s, the political situation in Pakistan remained tense. While West Pakistan dominated the government and economy, East Pakistan suffered from economic underdevelopment and political neglect. In this context, the Awami League, a Bengali political party led by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, emerged and advocated greater autonomy for East Pakistan. The situation came to a head in 1970, when Pakistan held its first general election since independence in 1947. The Awami League won a landslide victory in East Pakistan, winning 167 of the 169 seats allocated to the region in the National Assembly. This victory gave him an absolute majority in Pakistan's parliament, which, according to democratic rules, should have allowed him to form the central government. However, West Pakistan's elites refused to allow Mujibur Rahman to assume power. Instead of accepting the results, the central government postponed the inauguration of the new assembly indefinitely. This was perceived as an act of treason and a flagrant violation of democratic principles, prompting a wave of protests in East Pakistan. As tensions rose, on March 7, 1971, Mujibur Rahman gave a speech in which he declared that Bengalis should prepare for a struggle for their freedom. Although he did not proclaim independence at the time, he made it clear that the movement for self-determination was underway. The situation continued to deteriorate until, on March 25, 1971, the West Pakistani Army launched Operation Searchlight. This operation was brutal and was intended to crush the independence movement in East Pakistan. In addition, it marked the beginning of a genocidal campaign against the Bengali population. Pakistani troops attacked key cities such as Dhaka, where they massacred thousands of civilians, including students, teachers, and activists. It is estimated that, during the following months, between 200,000 and 3 million Bengalis were killed. In response to the brutal repression, on March 26, 1971, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman proclaimed Bangladesh's independence, although he was arrested shortly thereafter and taken to prison in West Pakistan. The Bangladeshi War of Independence had officially begun. Meanwhile, Awami League leaders who had not been arrested formed a government in exile in the Indian city of Calcutta. This government in exile organized an armed resistance, known as the Mukti Baini, which launched a guerrilla campaign against the Pakistani army. It received significant support from India, which shared a long border with East Pakistan and was also interested in weakening its neighbor. India, under the leadership of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, not only provided weapons and training to Bengali rebel forces, but also hosted millions of refugees fleeing repression in East Pakistan. India's intervention in the conflict was decisive. As the conflict intensified, the flow of Bengali refugees to India began to put a strain on the country's infrastructure, prompting the Indian government to consider direct military intervention. In December 1971, after months of tensions, India decided to intervene in the war. On December 3, 1971, Pakistan launched a preemptive strike on Indian air bases, marking the beginning of the war between India and Pakistan. The Indo-Pakistani War of 1971 was brief but intense. The Indian military launched a lightning offensive against Pakistani troops in East Pakistan. In less than 2 weeks, the Pakistani army was defeated and forced to surrender on December 16, 1971. Pakistan's surrender marked the official end of Bangladesh's War of Independence, and the next day it was recognized as an independent country by India and several other nations around the world. This conflict had far-reaching geopolitical consequences. Not only did it result in the creation of Bangladesh, but it also changed the balance of power in South Asia. The war was a humiliating defeat for West Pakistan, which not only lost half of its population and territory, but also suffered an internal political crisis that led to the fall of Yahya Khan's government. In Bangladesh, independence was greeted with a mixture of euphoria and devastation, as the country had been deeply scarred by violence and destruction. But, while it was a great achievement, the new country faced a number of enormous challenges from the start. Internal political divisions and power struggles soon emerged. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who was released from prison and returned in January 1972, was appointed prime minister, but his government faced criticism for its authoritarianism and lack of economic reforms. In 1975, just 4 years after independence, Mujibur Rahman was assassinated in a military coup, plunging Bangladesh into a period of political instability that lasted decades. Since then, the country has witnessed several coups, military dictatorships, and a difficult transition to democracy. This history has also left a lasting legacy in international relations. This war was one of the first conflicts where massive human rights violations played a central role in mobilizing international public opinion. In addition, this event is remembered as a symbol of the struggle for self-determination and resistance against oppression. Although the country has had a difficult road since its independence, fighting spirit remains a fundamental part of the country's national identity. Thank you for joining us in this analysis of Bangladeshi independence. If you liked the episode, don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell for more revealing stories in Untold Story. See you in the next one.